Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting all over the world. In fact, I've been teaching people the skills and principles of self-government for the last 20 plus years. Recently, a parent said to me, Nicholeen, how do I stop my kid from bullying? So I'm making this video for that mom and for you if that's something you're concerned about. I'm going to share with you 5 things that you can do to stop your child from bullying, and some of them might surprise you. So what could surprise you about stopping someone from bullying? Well, here's a very surprising fact. Your bond to your child actually makes a huge difference on whether they are going to bully somebody else or not. That's right. If you want your child to not be a bully, then you've got to have a good, strong attachment to them at home. In fact, another tip is you can't bully the children at home, which means you need to not be manipulating. What does bullying look like from a parent? It looks like hitting, yelling, pointing, giving them an attitude problem and the hand, maybe making fun of them in front of other people. These are all things that parents do to actually bully and belittle their children. Really, it's just the parents' emotions that are coming out all the time because they're frustrated. They don't know how to handle the child's maybe a little bit more extreme behaviors, and so they end up bullying the child. Maybe they don't even want to. Now, maybe you're saying, well, actually, yeah, I do kind of want them to be afraid of me, so I am bullying them. Well, then it shouldn't be any surprise that the child is bullying other people. They see that as a sign of strength and what they're working toward. In fact, we always teach our children how they should behave socially. So the way that you behave socially in the home and with them will always be how they behave socially with other people. So if there's a lot of competition or contention happening in the home, then that's going to spread out to the world around us. So tips 1 and 2 are that you need to make sure you develop a good, strong bond, a healthy connection with your children. Make sure that you're talking to them enough, you're developing a good relationship with them. One key thing that you can do to bond with your children more is to make sure that you carve out more family time. They should have more time with family than they do with digital devices or with friends. And when I say time with family, I don't just mean in the same house, but you need to be talking about things together, doing things together, sharing ideas of the world, learning things that will bring them closer to good behavior. These things often involve morals, values, beliefs, virtues, things like that that can help them rein themselves in. And then number 2 is that you need to make sure that you've got your own bullying in check, that you're not doing it at home either, that you're not manipulating the children. If you need help with that, then I absolutely can help. There are so many different things on my site that talk about the parent scripts that you can use to overcome those habits of bullying that you might have. Tip number 3 is to pre-teach. So you've got to prepare the child to succeed. They've got a behavior that's getting in the way. You need to give them a new skill that they can use to associate with other people. One of those skills they're probably going to need to conquer bullying is the skill accepting a no answer. So in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting program, we teach parents how to teach their children 4 basic skills. The 4 basic skills that I teach take care of 99% of all behavior problems. So the skill accepting a no answer and criticism is the skill a bully needs because they're constantly crossing over a boundary line. When a person crosses over a boundary line, they are not observing a no answer that's right in front of them. That line is saying, nope, you don't go over this line. And that's the line of being mean to somebody else, hurting somebody else, or saying something that would be belittling or unkind. That is a no answer. So how do you accept a no answer? You look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, and then drop the subject. Now maybe that person's not giving you a no, but it's the situation. You have a thought in your head about saying something mean to somebody because maybe your bully is just really smart. Sometimes the bullies are really smart people, and that's why they come up with these mean things to do. So they get a thought in their head, and that's the situation or the person, and then they look at it and keep a calm face, voice, and body, and they say, I'm not saying that. Nope, that thought is not good. So basically they do a disagree appropriately with that situation in their head, and then they drop the subject. so they don't think about it anymore. Maybe even you teach them that they have to walk away so that they don't accidentally bully the other person. In fact, it could be a really good idea to teach them to report to you after they have gone through that skill set in an actual potentially bully situation so that you can praise them for when things go right. Now, sometimes your bullies are kind of manipulative, so be on the watch for them making up that they did use it when actually they're still doing their bullying. This means that you've got to keep them within sight, have somebody watching what's going on so that that bully can be held accountable for using the skills or not. We're going to go on here in a minute with how to correct the problem when someone is in the act of bullying or they just bullied. But before we get to that, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. There are videos just like this that come out every single day, and you're not going to want to miss them. So subscribe now. So part of your pre-teaching means that you're going to be making a plan. So point 4 is you've got to follow through on the plan. This means you've got to actually do that correction, or maybe the praise that you told them that you would do when they decide not to engage in some of those bullying habits that they have had before. So how do you correct them? There are certain steps to correcting a child that are more effective than others. So the way that I teach to do an effective correction is by describing what happened that went wrong, and then describing what should have happened and why that was a good idea. Then explaining to them what negative consequence they have earned because they decided to not accept that no answer. Remember, that's what you're going to be correcting them for. And then after that, you practice doing things the right way, and then they get to go off and do whatever negative consequence it was that they earned. I'm not going to get into family economies, which is my system for positive and negative consequences, but there are multiple things you can use. Some of them are more effective than others. And remember, when a person is learning self-government, you want to use the type of negative consequences where it's not just you taking something away, but it's them actually getting the opportunity to accept that consequence. Because if they don't get the opportunity to accept their consequence, then they won't learn self-government. They will always think that everything that's happening to them is because of you instead of because of them. And really, the battle is within their own hearts and their own minds. It shouldn't be between parent and child. Part of a good correction brings me to point number 5. So point 5 is to do a full repair. If a child has decided to bully another person and mistreat someone in a way that makes another person experience some sort of injury or harm, then that person needs to fix the situation. This is kind of like a proper repentance. If you're a religious person, you always have to have restitution. There's this time where you make it better. So you go to the person and you repair the breach or the problem that occurred. If you offended the person, you describe exactly what you did. Declare that you know it's wrong. Explain to the person what you are doing to work on the problem and how in the future it should not be a problem. This is a humility moment. This is a moment to focus on the truth. It's so important because when a person expresses that they have a desire to follow through on doing something that is true, that will hold them accountable more than anything else in the future. They've made a pledge to another person, and now they will know that they are a liar if they don't follow through on what they said. So even though it could feel uncomfortable for a person to go search another person out to apologize to them or something, it is vital. In fact, if you don't know where that other person lives because maybe it's happening at school or something like that, then maybe you need to go to school with your child, find the person there, tell the principal or the teacher, listen, there's some bullying going on that we need to handle, and so we need to find this person and apologize for it and tell them that we are not going to be doing this anymore. So whatever you need to do to give that person the opportunity to have restitution, repair the breach, and make things right will be absolutely empowering to that person. If you have enjoyed learning about how to help a child who might be engaged in bullying, I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy the free class that I'm offering, which is the expectation trap versus the cycle for success. So click on the link to that video now and learn how you and your child cannot fall into habits and traps that will make you do things that you didn't want to do in the first place.